Hello everybody, Ben Rogers here with the Raptors Digest, reacting to the Toronto Raptors 121-102 loss to the Boston Celtics. And this one, from the jump, I think the Raptors scored the first bucket of this game, but immediately following, after that first possession, the first score that we had, this was one of the ugliest games of the season. It was an embarrassing watch for this Toronto Raptors team. As a fan of this Raptors squad, that's trying to be engaged, trying to be hyped up about the season because we got the play-in tournament coming up. It's locked in. We're going to be playing the Chicago Bulls in game 1 of the play-in, and then if we win that, we'll play the loser of the Miami Heat and Atlanta Hawks. So that's all a sure thing now at this point. And the Raptors could have fought to potentially only have to win one game in the play-in, make their path to the playoffs a little bit easier, be an actual top 8 team. But no, they decide to play the Boston Celtics twice and have just some of the most disappointing, embarrassing performances of the season. Because not only yesterday, there's no Tatum, no Smart, no Horford, no Pritchard, right? Those guys didn't play today or yesterday. The Celtics had the audacity to say, hey, we didn't play those guys the other night. We'll sit Jaylen Brown in this game. Marcus Smart's still out with injury. We'll bring Pritchard back. But, in the 2 games we're playing against the Toronto Raptors, sure, we might be a matchup for the Celtics, in round 1 if they can. Actually, I think we're locked into the Bucks. We can only get the 8th seed if we actually want to make a push. But, right, even though we could have, at least ahead of this doubleheader, potentially played the Celtics in the first round of the playoffs, they said, hey, we don't need to send a message against this team that was once a division rival, that was once, we had a playoff series against, that we'd have some battles with over the course of the season. No. We can sit our superstars. We can just bench them, rest them, whatever the heck they are. Jaylen Brown one night, Tatum the other. Some guys can play, some guys don't have to, and we can come out and just absolutely smoke them. Cook them up. Just yesterday, it was a game at times. It was a game of runs, but the Celtics had it in the bag most of the way through. This one was just a pure slaughter, a massacre of the Toronto Raptors, because it was... We just rolled over and died. After the Celtics went up, up by 10 points in the first 4 or 5 minutes of this game, right? Toronto just had zero heart, zero effort, and sure, Precious played decent off the bench. Siakam had an efficient night, but didn't play good by any means. With the exception of that, the last 4 minutes of this game, the Raptors were absolutely horrific. And you can just look at the box score for this, right? Tonight, Pascal Siakam, 8 of 15, but we got the stats here. I don't have my glasses in. OG, 7 points. Scotty Barnes, 8 points. Jakob Poeltl in 21 minutes, 3 points. Fred VanVleet, 12 points. Right, Precious was good, as I mentioned, but off the bench, Gary Trent Jr., who has returned. And yes, Gary Trent Jr. is still dealing with injuries. He probably rushed back, so I'm not going to trash on him too much for his horrific performances, but if he's going to be dropping duds like that, we should let him rest, let him be injured, just like last season when he was playing sick in the playoffs and all that sort of stuff. And it's just bad. It is just a bad look for this Raptors team right now. I see the chat roasting Nick Nurse, saying goodbye to him. We should have tanked instead of being the 9th seed, and I've made the take. I'm happy the Raptors at least gave this group a run. Said, hey, we got you your center, right? The 6'9" vision, sure, that didn't work, but we evaluated everything and said, okay, things might be better with the center. But now, we don't have to waste next season to really say, hey, this core group was just missing this one little piece. We can tweak this thing around. There are going to be, assuming we don't make a miraculous playoff run, I'm still rooting for the Raptors to get get through the play-in. I think that's still doable, right? Get to that first round. So guys like Scotty Barnes, OG Anunoby, I guess OG has playoff experience, but get our youngins, that playoff experience. But sure, we've had a run. Sure, we've had our moments to close out this season, but I think given this body of work, given everything that's put together, there's no excuses. There's no way we can really say, hey, this group is going to be working together. And, I went on a tirade the other night about how Jeff Doughton should have made this roster. I still hold that to be true, and we'll talk about that more in a video tomorrow. But the Raptors have essentially said there's no chance Jeff Doughton's contract gets converted, as the deadline for that, I believe, was today or yesterday and stuff. So, we didn't, we decided to go all out, right? We couldn't tell champions like Fred VanVleet and Pascal Siakam that we're going to tank. How do you do that to a guy with championship blood material? And then, sure, we acquire Will Barton and all that, but, when the going gets tough, we really need that backup point guard, because on nights like tonight, when Fred VanVleet just isn't providing things for you, and we didn't have a lot of guys providing for us, right? Like, we need Jeff Doughton Jr. to be in there, but, the Raptors have essentially, by not signing him, and have indicated to me they're giving up on this season. And from their performances to close out this season against the Celtics, these past two games, it feels like they've just rolled over and died. The motivation's not there, right? They're not engaged. And while we have a talented group, you can talk about inconsistencies. You can talk about this, that, and whatever. If you have your starting, I'll repeat it. I will repeat it. 7 points, 8 points, 3 points, 12 points, 19 points from a guy that was shooting decently efficiently, and then, your sixth man, your guy that's supposed to be getting you buckets, 9 points. If that's what you're getting out of your top 6 players, that's not an inconsistent, an off night and stuff for those types of guys. There is something inherently wrong with this group. It's been the case this entire season. Not necessarily talent-wise, we have good players on this team, but 1, they're not fitting. 2, they're demotivated. They're not engaged. They're not bought into whatever's going on. And we need to figure this out. And I'm a Nick Nurse stan. I think he's a great coach. I think he's a guy that puts together strong offensive schemes when he has the right tools available. But he has not been able to adapt to this current group for this season, which is extremely weird, because even though he wasn't perfect by any means last season, he had the team motivated and playing solid defense, even though it was a little bit ups and downs. The offense wasn't consistent last year, but this season, it makes last year's team look like the 2014 Spurs. It makes the motivation on that team look like Coach Carter's out there in the locker room, hyping up the group. Because this season, the locker room has turned out Nick Nurse. It is what it is, right? Wednesday night, Wembanyama, Wednesday night current call. I'm still rooting for the Raptors to win this game. We went in, we decided to trade. We traded our draft pick for next season. And I said it. I was happy and excited with the acquisition of Jakob Poeltl once it immediately happened. It was a good move. Jakob Poeltl has proven to be great for us, even if Nick Nurse decides not to play him. Even if Nick Nurse says, hey, we can't be giving this guy any minutes. We can't be letting him do whatever, right? But Jakob Poeltl's great. But I said it on the day of the trade deadline. A first-round pick for a team that with such a questionable future as what we have right now, that is probably an overpay. And you know what? Masai Ujiri didn't supplement that trade with anything to make me feel better about it. And the results have not shown anything to get me really excited, to get me thinking, hey, I'm really excited if we keep this core group together going into next year. This has been the most boring season to watch the Toronto Raptors ever since I was like 10 years old and Andrea Bargnani was out here leading the way. This has been just it's because you can be bad but have an exciting team to watch. You can be a trash, garbage organization and, a guy like Scotty Barnes should be invigorating us as Raptors fans to watch this guy play, because he's so exciting to watch out there on the basketball court, to see his potential grow. Sure, he's inconsistent, but he can pass, he can drive, he can do all this sort of stuff, right? We should be having fun as Raptors fans right now. And again, it was a risk for Masai Ujiri. I don't think he was stupid to make that move, but it did not work. It did not work for this season. But what has he done as a coach? Nick Nurse won a championship as a coach and all that, but holy smokes. This Raptors team, we need to figure things out. I'll go back and forth with the chat as I get through all my tirades, but this season has just been... We're not bad enough to be excited in a season where Wembanyama, right? We could at least be rolling out the tanks. We can come in for Raptors therapy sessions. We could be coming out here and pushing for that tank. This would have been a season where we could actually do that. But no, we made a push for the 9th seed. and the season looked all. There is something intangibly wrong with this team. We saw it from the outside perspective. I'm not an insider. I don't know what the heck's going on in between, the locker room and all that sort of stuff. But it was leaking out to every single reporter, every single minor beat reporter ahead of the trade deadline. Oh, this guy might want out. Oh, Gary might not sign an extension. OG wants to get traded. Fred is worried about his contract extension this summer. Yada, yada, yada. But when that didn't happen, I said, okay. When we didn't, make some moves, tear this whole thing down with how ugly our January and February were, I said, okay, I trust Masai Ujiri that this team is in a decent space. We'll be able to turn things around, right? We make that push, and sure, it has been better with the acquisition of Jakob Poeltl, but there is, am I tripping, chat? Am I on something crazy to say that there is internal locker room issues with this team? You don't go from an up-and-coming, exciting Toronto Raptors team. I know a lot of people were absolutely stoked coming into this year with the emergence of with the rookie of the year, Scotty Barnes. Guys like Gary Trent Jr., OG Anunoby, breaking out as young players in the league. Pascal Siakam being an all-NBA guy, right? That type of team that was super fun. They played for each other. Sure, we weren't that consistent, but we were a top 5 seed ahead to schedule and all that sort of stuff to whatever product we're getting out here on the court right now. And there wasn't a miraculous dip in talent. We have a more talented team this season than we had last year, but Nick Nurse seems to have one foot in, one foot out in terms of his quotes, in terms of the rumors that are going on in the season. The Raptors did make the decision that was clearly a move that would have been win now, that say, hey, we believe in this squad and not signing Jeff Doughton. And all the rumors that we sort of were put to bed, that were sort of quite shushed by the front office, by the acquisitions of Jakob Poeltl and all that sort of stuff. Winning changes everything. There is something going on in this locker room right now where I don't know who's given up, but the players look like they've given up. Nick Nurse seems to have given up. Masai Ujiri and not deciding to bring in Jeff Doughton seems to have given up. And that is stupidity. When you've coming out, you're saying everything in the media, we're soaking it all in. We're trying to get excited because we saw what this team could do last season. Right? We're trying to, as Raptors fans, we want this team to succeed. We want guys like Pascal. We want guys like OG Anunoby, Fred VanVleet, who have grown through this organization. Raptors fans want to root for them. We're chomping at the bit. We're not trying to be, losers out here on Twitter, on YouTube, and all that sort of stuff that just want to bash specific players and do all this stuff. And I'm coming out here on videos trying to be excited about this team because, I feel like a degenerate Raptors fan at this point, convincing myself that, hey, there's something clearly wrong. The front office saying we're pushing to win, right? We do win now moves, and they're saying everything's all good. We just needed a center. Nick Nurse is saying to Masai Ujiri, they're talking about it in these interviews and stuff. Hey, we just needed a big man. We can get this push. And then we have performances like this where we just look even more disinterested than when we were looking bad. This is brutal. This is absolutely embarrassing. Chris Strofer saying we lost to the Celtics B squad. We definitely did. This team just doesn't work right now. It doesn't work. And you can make the arguments it's for player personnel fit. You can make the arguments it's because our coach is 1 foot in, 1 foot out in terms of the door. You can make the argument, that sure we took a swing on Will Barton, but then the team just didn't fully seal the deal, trying to, go all win out and try to get, Jeff Doughton Jr. on the team. It is what it is, but I am disappointed in this squad. That's the only way to put it. Lord 2 Senpai saying Andrea Bargnani was more entertaining, and honestly, I don't know if I was just because I was 10, 12 years old, but I had more fun with those teams as well, right? And it's just whack. And we got Jay in the chat out here calling Jaylen Brown over Stinky P. No way that is the case. It's brutal. It is absolutely brutal. So they bring back Fred VanVleet. I might cry. That's what it was. And Jay, you're getting the ban here. Getting the ban. I don't know how to do this. Hide user from channel. I don't know how to. Okay, that's what's happening. But yeah, a lot of things are more entertaining than the Raptors right now. I'm gonna go back and forth with the chat, see what you guys are saying. But shooters, right? We need actual shooters to play. That's what Trent Patrick is saying. Burn it all down. And how many All-Stars are Fred and Pascal better than? I think Pascal is genuinely like a good player. He's being asked to do a little bit too much right now. I don't know. Pascal is pretty solid, but Fred did not have an All-Star caliber season this year. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. Even though his stats kind of picked up at the second half of the season, when you're this inconsistent and you're asking to be paid like a number one guy, sure, he might not. Pascal's our number one guy on this team, but Fred's at least being paid like he's going to be a number two dude, right? That's the contract. That's the type of deal he's asking for. You cannot be this inconsistent. And I think the inconsistency has made a lot of Raptors fans say, hey, this guy is absolute garbage and all that sort of stuff. No, Fred VanVleet is not garbage, but when he's bad, he's bad. And it happens too many times for us to rely on him to pay him $30 million per game. Per game. Goodness gracious. Per year. It just can't happen. Right? And Jen from Genfro saying, I missed this game. Just came in to see the venting. And it's a big Raptors therapy session on the go right now. Big Raptors therapy session. We'll get the animations popping. This all works. Yeah, there we go. But nah, bro, we're gonna run it back, and next year the fan base is gonna be happiest, right, Ben? Hey, I'm sure I'll convince myself. Beside you, Jerry knows. We'll convince ourselves to get hyped up and excited. We do have Scotty Barnes, we have young players and all that, but things need to change. Things need to change, and we have Fred back. Fred is an unrestricted free agent. Gary Trent Jr. is an unrestricted free agent. Jakob Poeltl is an unrestricted free agent. So those are all some interesting topics that will have to come up. Obviously, the play-in, we still have all this stuff, and the Raptors, rolled over, and I'm pressing buttons left, right, and center here. But I wanna hear what the chat has to say right now about the star boy, Gary Trent Jr. I want to hear what people have to say about him. Good Eye is saying you can't call this squad a team. It's rough. But Gary Trent Jr., this team, he's unrestricted free agent. Gary has been good for a solid chunk of this year. He's benched. He played that role well, did his thing. We acquired Jakob Poeltl. He came off the bench. He's had some good nights. Was out for an extended stretch of time. Has looked really bad in his return. I know we all have recency bias. I know we all, are talking and do, once a game happens, a reaction podcast. There's no other way to sort of put it. But how are we feeling on Gary Trent Jr. right now? Because just from what you guys were saying in the chats, in the comment section, what I'm seeing on Reddit, what I'm seeing on Twitter, it seemed like everyone wanted Fred to go, Gary to stay, keep Yak, I think is the take, trade Pascal. Some people are saying trade OG. People are kind of all over the place, but it seems like people wanted Gary Trent Jr. back. But Way is saying that Gary Trent Jr. is checked out, but Gary Trent Jr. not the weekend, but Monday. Yeah, Gary's injured, right? There's injuries that are going on right now. So what do we do with Gary Trent Jr.? He's an unrestricted free agent if he doesn't pick up his player option, so which he definitely is not going to. That is a big decision for us to make. I don't know. Gary came back too soon. I like Gary. He's our sniper. Agree. And yeah, we need shooting on this team. If we let him go, it's tough. But I would trade Pascal in a heartbeat, since I'm a fun guy. I don't know. Keeping Poeltl is a priority this season. True, but there's a lack of shooting there. You look at that and you talk about fits and all that sort of stuff. Scotty Barnes can't really shoot. Poeltl can't really shoot. I don't know. We need Scotty Barnes to shoot. We're not going to win a championship if Scotty Barnes doesn't learn how to shoot. So that's I think keeping Jakob Poeltl. So are people saying, throw a yes and the no in the chat? Is the pulse of the Raptors Digest chat right now? Are people saying trade Fred VanVleet, or let Fred VanVleet walk, and then re-sign Gary Trent Jr. and Jakob Poeltl? Or do we need more changes than that, right? Like, probably just saying that at this point, run 5 centers. Clear we don't value shooting. Yeah, that's fair. Especially get some centers that can pass. Bring back Marc Gasol. But Gary's a scorer plus on D when he plays his potential. All-star, interesting. I think he could definitely get there. Give the keys to Scotty, says Dante. Let Fred walk. Keep Fred. The thing about Fred, if we let him walk, we're going to need to bring back a point guard. Right? We are going to need to bring back a point guard because we are really, really bad. Really, really bad when Fred's not out there on the court. So, Dowden looked good. We looked good with Jeff Dowden there for a while. I don't know. Fred can go play for the Rockets. Fred and Nick Nurse going to the Rockets. That could be a direction. But, yeah, it seems like people... I don't know. I'm getting a little bit too over my... We still have the play-in coming up. I'm still going to be excited for that game. The Bucks one's pretty inconsequential coming up, but I don't know. This team has essentially given up. They're dejected. The fan base... There's too many just nights like this. Sure, we could take 2 losses to the Celtics, but in this manner, in this fashion, where the Celtics are essentially doing... They don't give 2 craps. They're not playing their guys. They're not giving anyone out there. And once again, Peyton Pritchard just absolutely cooks us off the bench. 22 points. They don't even care enough to play Jason Tatum. We're talking about playing Pascal and all these guys 40 minutes a game this season. Tatum only had to play 20 in this one. Celtics said, hey, we don't even need to give this guy his run. It's basically a rest game. It's definitely a rest game. When playing this, I don't know. It's rough. We down bad, man. Our front office, yeah, it's tough. Move back to this guy home. Masai, yeah, there's no development here. Bring Jeff Dowden in as starting point guard, honestly. Sam Hauser's better on the Raptors single-handedly. Yeah, tonight he was. Fans realized what this team was before Masai. Y'all be quiet about Raptors pain. Oh my goodness. Masai rebuilding this whole time. Yeah. I don't know, guys. I don't know. I'm raw about this game. I don't even... There wasn't any analysis you could do with this game. Just an ugly one. I'll end it off with a positive. The propaganda is cooking a little bit. Precious Jewel looked great in his 24 minutes, 6 of 10. Missed a layup or 2, but had 16 and 7 in the game. Delano Banton had 10 points in the last 4 minutes of this game, so I know there's going to be some people calling for Banton to get some opportunity. Would have been nice this year if we did go into development route to see if Delano Banton could actually have some potential. He's a guy that could play in this league, but I don't know. Will Barton hit a 3, so that was exciting. Got hashtag blame Rikers going in the chat. It is what it is. Just an ugly, ugly performance. But hopefully the Toronto Raptors turn things around and we win in the play. That's my take there. But folks, you guys are the best to make this far. Subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already. If you're interested in buying a car, getting some stuff rocking, definitely check out Queensway Automotive Group. Support the channel. They're supporting a lot of Raptors, Toronto creators and stuff. So they have dealerships all across Ontario. So if you want a new car, used car, whatever it is, definitely check out Queensway Automotive Group. But holy smokes, Riker using a Ben deepfake. Hey, Riker be talking about the refs if I was a deepfake. But I appreciate you guys all as always. I'm signing out. Cheers.